Thank you, Mr. Farage. Harry Farley from BBC. Firstly, on Iran, do you think that the UK should be willing to join the US in any future strikes on Iran? And on the Britannia Card, by spending this revenue from the new non-doms policy on a direct cash transfer to the lowest paid, you're not spending it on all the other areas of public spending that the current non-doms policy goes on, and you haven't set out any spending cuts alongside it. So doesn't this amount to more fantasy economics?
On Iran, it just would be nice to know, do we have a policy? Does the government have a policy? As I said earlier, they appear to be completely blindsided by what were entirely predictable actions. I would have thought that the Americans are probably quite capable of managing this on their own. If they ask for help, should we give it? I believe yes. But it has raised, over the last 24 hours, the issue of Diego Garcia. The issue of this, I mean, just the most appalling deal one's ever seen. And, you know, Lord Hermer, that great patriot, you know, basically saying, well, America can't do anything from Diego Garcia until we inform the Mauritians, who of course are mates with the Chinese, who of course are mates with the Iranians. And so we understand the mission flew from Missouri with several refuelings on the way, memories of the Vulcans going to the Falklands many years ago. And that's fine, but a very, very risky operation for the Americans. Very risky operation. If you've got to refuel several times over 18,000 miles, things can go wrong. So, yeah, let's get some clarity. Where does the Prime Minister actually stand? What is our policy? And if necessary, we should help, but I doubt they'll need it.
So you've supported the US military action against Iran. And as you know, previous wars in the Middle East have tended to produce large amounts of refugees, many of whom make the way to this country. Is there a danger that the same will happen again this time?
Well, the Iranians are making their way to this country every day on dinghies across the English Channel. 3 of them recently, who came by dinghy, were arrested for terrorism, yet no one seems to care. There's no great debate over the road. We just accept it now. Oh, terrorists come into Britain, that's fine. People come in across in dinghies and commit rape, but we just try and cover it up and don't even discuss it. I don't know. I mean, my feeling on Iran is that the Persian people, the lovely Persian people, deserve an awful lot better than they've had from this appalling regime. And I mean, look, it's impossible to predict. It's impossible to predict. But I have felt for some time, my judgment, I've felt for some time that the Iranian regime is teetering, is wobbling, could be brought down. And it's difficult to see what comes after it can be worse than what has been there for the last 40 years.
Should the Americans decide to take more action, should we join them? Should Starmer come out in support of that? This has also been dubbed a Robin Hood policy today. Were you happy with that nickname of the modern-day Robin Hood? And Zia, are you confident this policy is a good use of your time? Thank you.
Well, that took a long time to come, didn't it? I'm not sure America's going to need our help with Iran. I think we've hindered them already, as Theo's question rather indicated. I've little doubt Diego Garcia would have been used for this. It would have been safer, more sensible, more element of surprise. So I doubt they're going to ask for our help. But they could do with our support. And let's see what the Prime Minister has to say on this very important matter in the House of Commons later on.
I remember someone saying in 2016 that the Syrian civil war was pushing our immigration system to breaking point. A minute ago you said that there's no way in which we can tell where this is going to end up. You also said it can't be worse than the present. So those two things can't be true at the same time. My question is, do you worry that your loyalty and friendship with Donald Trump could distract you from some of the more pressing issues in this country?
What are you on about?
Well,
I believe that our foreign policy on Iran has been wrong.
Yeah.
We blindly followed Obama, so blindly following America can be a big mistake, and it was one we did make with that JCPOA deal. It was a terrible deal. We should never, ever have followed it. Look, I just want you to recognise, and I've made this point already, but I'll make it again because it is very, very important, that whether we like a particular American president or not, whether we support their current policies or not, and I disagreed strongly with Obama over that, but we do have to recognise that without America, we are defenceless. We cannot defend ourselves without a good relationship with America. So it is a vital relationship.
Yeah, so you are saying that part of your support for the mission is to do with this broader loyalty to America?
No. I don't want to see Israel obliterated from the face of the map with the death of millions of people. And frankly, I fear that's what Iran might do. That's the primary motive behind all of this. That's why America's got involved. And I do deeply fear Iran getting nuclear capability. Deeply fear. And I suggest we should all deeply fear it.
On Iran, to be absolutely clear, do you want to see regime change in Iran? You say the Europeans don't have a role to play. Do you think that the UK has a role to play? Do you think Israel and the United States will listen to this UK government? And then just on this tax policy, one of the big challenges facing working people across the country, but especially in London, is the price of property. Do you think a big influx of millionaires to London would push up property prices even further?
It's a good point. The property question is a good point. We've seen falls in the property market of about 20%, maybe 25% in Westminster, in Kensington and Chelsea. It's tough to sell a house when everybody wants to sell a house. The question, Harry, has that had a big effect on more affordable pricing down towards the lower end of that relative property ladder? And the answer is no. Do you know why? Because the population's exploding. Because of immigration, the population's exploding. And there would be an argument that rich people leaving and property prices falling, if it fed right down, could be a benefit. And I've thought about that many, many times over the years. But when you have a net population rising by as much as it is, no. And it's interesting, I mean, even if the government were to build 1.5 million homes, which they won't, that of itself would not cope with the increase in population led by legal immigration into Britain over that period in time. So no, there is actually, I don't see any prospect of this filtering down to more affordable housing. But I agree with you, it is a massive, massive problem. Sorry, you asked something else as well, I forgot.
On Iran,
sorry.
do you want to see regime
Well, I mean, the UK's role is, is the UK still an ally to Israel? I'm just not sure. We're sanctioning Israeli politicians, we're stopping the sales of arms. It's pretty clear that the Foreign Secretary has little or no time for Israel. So we're in a slightly strange position. I suspect going forward with Iran that we will probably be more of a spectator than anything else. Do I want to see Israel? Well, look, I find it difficult to believe that what comes after 40 years of brutality, public executions, and all of the things that happen there, I'd love to see it transform, relatively peacefully to something better. What will happen? I don't know. Regardless of that, I think the actions that have been taken by Israel and America over the course of the last week are the right ones, and we at Reform UK support that fully.